Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Friday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on? First off, hope you all had a fantastic and very happy Thanksgiving. Glad to, when the holidays come around, take a little bit of a break here on the channel, unless, of course, the Steelers are in action during that holiday. We were live for a little bit of last year's Christmas game against the Kansas City Chiefs before things then turned into a crap show right there. But holidays, all about spending time with some family. I had a good time with some of my family. I hope you guys did as well. But today, back to our normal agenda, talking Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates here on the channel exclusively today, in that order, more or less. Here in a couple of moments, we are going to start off a bit of a last-minute recap and look ahead to the injury reports for Steelers versus Bills. That game coming up here on Sunday evening, a 4:25 kickoff. Got the graphic all set up for that game right here. You see it on your screen right now. We will be live, of course, on the channel for that game. We'll probably be live around 4 o'clock if I had to guess. That should give us more than enough time to get through all of the pregame notes and last-minute tidbits of information, all that. But we will be live back here on Sunday for Steelers versus Bills. That game surely shaping up to be a good one. Why so? We will get into the final injury reports for both of those teams here in a moment. Some very, very good news for one team. And then for the other team, it's almost the complete opposite. We'll break down all of that to begin the show here in a moment. After that, we will get into a little bit of Pittsburgh Penguins hockey. They in action last on Wednesday. They eking out a win over the Buffalo Sabres. How that game went, some roster moves that the Pens made for that game, we will get into. And then after those two things, we will get, of course, into the extra Pittsburgh sports news for the day, a little bit extra stuff on the Steelers, a little bit extra stuff on the Penguins, including some major chatter about a goaltender for the Penguins. We'll break all that down, and then we'll wrap up with a little bit of Bucko talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates, some more reports and rumors coming out from MLB insiders on who the Pirates could be targeting in free agency this year. Some big names still being mentioned, so that is good to see. Before we get into all of that here on this Friday, let me real quick say, if you are new in here, welcome to the Steel City Sports Report, our own nice community that we are building here. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already. Turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing again here on the channel. Like this live stream, share this live stream so we can get more viewers in here. And go to the comments section. Any thoughts, questions, opinions that you may have, you can put those in the live YouTube chat right below the video. If you are watching on your phone, get whatever is on your mind in there. Also, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and tune back in a little bit later tonight for SCSR 60. Before we get things going here today with the Steelers and Bills final injury reports, let's real quick head to that comment section here, and let's hear from a couple of people. Of course, THP, he is in here as always. Dallas Cowboy fan as well. Got the one question. I saw your one question. How about them Cowboys? Honestly, I hold little grudges against the Cowboys. Of course, I think younger generations of Steelers fans, they're going to feel that way because they weren't, alive really for those old matchups, America's team versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, that whole Super Bowl matchups and things like that. So I don't hold as big of a grudge against the Cowboys as some other Steelers fans do. I do understand it. Honestly, I do. But also, looking in hindsight at yesterday, would I have taken the Cowboys if it meant burying the Kansas City Chiefs a good bit out of playoff range? Then yeah, I probably was going to take that. So it was good seeing the Cowboys, screw over the Chiefs more than I enjoyed watching them win. George Pickens had another game. Of course, we all know how well that trade is looking right now. Might, look back a couple years from now and say, hey, the George Pickens that you saw in Dallas wasn't going to happen here in Pittsburgh. Who knows? Pickens might still go get a big bag if a team throws large money at him in free agency. Who knows? So we'll revisit that another time. Another game that happened yesterday on Thanksgiving, we will get to in the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment. I think all of you know what that one is that I'm talking about. THP here. We're still not good, but hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. Yeah, very nice Thanksgiving. Spent some quality time with some family. Lots of good food was eaten. Lots of talks about the Steelers and the Penguins and the Pirates were had with a bunch of my uncles. So that was a good time doing all that as well, bouncing different thoughts and ideas off of each other. So yeah, it was good, and I hope all of you had some similar happy time on Thanksgiving yesterday. Cody Silva in here. Welcome, Cody. Omar Khan is trash. Be more specific than that, Cody. Omar Khan, I think the honeymoon period is over with him. I think that's fair to say. Am I willing to call him trash yet? I'm not going to, go out and say he's, bottom half of the league general manager. I mean, the drafting that he's done so far, he and Andy Weidel, it's been pretty decent. Broderick Jones, their first round pick. I think as the season has progressed, he's gotten better at left tackle. Of course, you can credit Omar Khan with all the mid-round gems he's found. Nick Herbig, Darnell Washington, those types of guys, probably more that I'm forgetting right now. There are a couple of hiccups in there, like the George Pickens trade, like I'm trying to think what else right now. There are stinkers in there, don't doubt. Don't say I'm defending Khan in here, but I do feel that he's doing an adequate job. However, kind of like, the rest of this organization right now, you're doing this much, okay? It's adequate. Some other teams in organizations around the league would take it. Then we got to raise it up here because this is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The standard needs to be raised, even though Mike Tomlin and all them says the standard is the standard. So we need to raise that a little bit. Definitely, Cody, I think you can agree there. THP here. Insane the Bears have 40 rushes and 35 pass attempts. Talking about the Bears-Steelers game, they did run the ball more as the game went on. It was almost like we're going to keep on running it, and hopefully it finally breaks. I think the Steelers, for the most part, in the first, 3 quarters of that game against Chicago, they were doing fantastic job stopping DeAndre Swift in the running game. And then as the game went on, the Bears just kept on hammering away on the ground, and they were able to finally break off a few. Cody Silva in here again. Hope we don't draft a QB next year under Tomlin. He's going to ruin another young rookie with soft, safe, boring play calling. Cody, what you just said, I'm pretty sure I said mostly the same thing. What was it? Last time we were live here on Tuesday. As much as, drafting a young quarterback, especially in the first round, gets everybody hopes up. Bringing him in here to this organization with this head coach right now. If you're not an Aaron Rodgers or a Ben Roethlisberger, if you're not some sort of seasoned veteran that has seen it all in the NFL and is just so sharp upstairs that by nature they're not going to put the ball in trouble, then you might as well just start every day at practicing your throw out to the flats for screen plays and your occasional deep shot down the sideline. So I agree with that, Cody. As much as I want to get my hopes up about the possibility of the Steelers getting a young quarterback, just bringing him in here to an organization with a defensive first head coach, which his biggest pet peeve is, hey, do not turn the ball over. Make sure you make the safest pass at all times. If nothing's there, I want you to huck it 15 rows into the seating. That's just no way to develop a rookie quarterback properly. You're going to teach him to play scared and never, trust his instincts or his development. And that's just going to ruin him. That's the reason, honestly, Cody, I think I brought it up before, why I'm a little bit worried of putting in Will Howard right now. Because, what is Will Howard going to do that they're going to put the same handcuffs on him that they did Mason Rudolph for most of that Bears game? And I don't want to do that to him. Also, throwing him to the Wolves, no preseason experience or anything like that. That seems pretty unfair. Also, talk about drafting a quarterback next year. Another reason why I am kind of souring on taking a first-round quarterback, and I've said this before on the channel too, is that look at this quarterback draft class. Pretty much every single name, your Cade Klubniks, Drew Allers, Arch Mannings, Garrett Nussmeyers, those guys that you were, it was prophecy that they were going to be, top 10 picks or top 15 picks, and it was going to be one of the better crop of quarterbacks to come out of a draft in a while. Now all of those guys, they'd be lucky if any of them gets drafted in the third round this year. Instead, you got to trust, all right, is this Fernando Mendoza? Is it a one-year wonder? What about Ty Simpson? Is it the same thing with him? John Mateer, how's he going to do with his whole hand injury, stuff like that? Just too many questions, too many question marks in this quarterback draft class, in my opinion there, Cody. George Pickens, Darius Slay, second for DK, Broderick Jones, Roman Wilson, Caleb Johnson, hitting on all of those right there. I'm going to leave Caleb Johnson out of this. I think, his confidence was shot after that one error, and they never gave him a chance to really rebound. Also, you can make an argument. All right, George Pickens trade looking pretty bad right now. Darius Slay, thank God you got Jalen Ramsey because, geez, if he's your starting corner, that'd be trouble. Second round for DK, I think, first year, new system. Also not really throwing him the ball, and they don't have a complement sufficient number 2 to take some pressure off of him. I'm not going to be hard there. Broderick Jones, I think, is progressing. Will he get there? We'll see. Roman Wilson, is he ever out on the field to prove himself? And then Caleb Johnson, I think they just put him in a rough spot from the get-go. So these guys, you can view them as bad acquisitions, or you can view them as they're not being put in the best positions to succeed. I think that's up for debate there, Cody. That's Bears-Eagle game now, brother, right now. My bad. Okay, that's all right. There, THP. Quarterback class went from elite to dookie, but it's best for Pittsburgh because they need core pieces, non-quarterback, in my opinion, playmakers. Yeah, honestly, right now, just thinking about it over the past couple of days, I think someone asked maybe on Tuesday, there was one, spot in the draft that you would take in the first round right now. That wasn't a quarterback for the Steelers. I'd probably get wide receiver out of the way. Go get a Carnell Tate. I think it's Jordan Tyson for ASU. There's a couple of other guys out there as well. I just go make sure I finally get a wide receiver that, will probably put the fear into defensive coordinators other than DK Metcalf, in my opinion. Garrett Nussmeyer's awfully sucked all year. LSU talking about quarterbacks. Yeah, indeed. Just crazy. All of those guys, they either fell off because they either sucked or they've gotten injured. It's absolutely crazy. Tomlin stat post Big Ben 44 and 34. Big Ben stats 166 and 82. Big Ben made Mike Tomlin's career. That's definitely, as we're going along here, we're in year 6 now without Big Ben, or no? Let's see, 2 years, 3 years. Okay, maybe year 5 now without Ben, something like that. Yeah, the farther we stray away, the more that is appearing to be true. Almost like Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. We certainly got our answer on that one, didn't we? Okay, last comment here before we get things officially going here on a Friday, spending tons of time in the comment section here with THP and Cody. Don't see you guys. I don't see we got a bad deal for Pickens being a jerk-off. Wasn't playing hard, hindsight 2020. It is, honestly, but like I said, I gave myself the caveat. I said, let's see what Pickens does a year from now. If he's on a new team and he gets paid big money, is he going to be, the perfect model teammate and golden standard of effort out on the field this time a year from now when he gets paid big bucks, which someone will give him? We'll see. I will officially give a hard grade on that trade when I see that, and not just a one-off year when he's playing for money in Dallas, which is also a very wide receiver friendly offense. I'm still waiting for a big blow up. I still have that feeling it'll eventually come. People forget Big Ben was carried early by the defense, run game, and veterans. Yeah, agreed. But I'm not sure if you're using that as a defense mechanism for Tomlin or not, because, lots of people could easily come back with you there, THP. Ben carried by the defense, the running game, and the veterans. Whose defense was that? Who got those defensive players? I think we all know a certain man with a big chin who did that, who was also running that defense. I believe a certain defensive coordinator who always told the night before Christmas to the team, all those guys and all those vets, Hall of Famers as well that were acquired. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, Big Ben was carried, and then the reins got turned over of putting the team on the back from the defense to Big Ben, their THP. 6 of you in here, welcome in here. I've been seeing that number pop up around the 10 mark throughout the show thus far. Let's officially get things on the road. 2 days off here for the holiday. Now we're back on Friday. Everyone's got a lot to say. I appreciate it. Keep those comments rolling on your way in. Going to start off today's show, like I said, talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. A look ahead to this weekend's matchup with the Buffalo Bills. And with that, today, ladies and gentlemen, final injury reports and game designations for both of these teams. We're going to start with the Steelers here right now, and they are the team with the best news today on their injury front. You're seeing their practice participation report right here on their website. Just 2 names with game statuses. Those, of course, Broderick Jones and Derek Harmon. We have known that those 2 guys were going to be out all week long. So that was good to see that it's just those 2. No one got added or is questionable on that list, including Aaron Rodgers. That is the big name that we are seeing. He has 0 game designation, and he will play against the Bills on Sunday. Tomlin said Rodgers was a full participant today in practice and will play. I think the answer Tomlin gave to why Rodgers is playing simply said he just got more reps. So that I'll get back to that here in a second. That answer from Tomlin. Rodgers was out there, was able to palm and grip the ball, I guess, pretty well with his left hand. That, of course, the hand with the wrist that has the fracture. So that is good there. I believe Tomlin also said something of the sort, or maybe Rodgers confirmed it, that he was able to take some snaps under center. So that is very promising. I think under center is what we're worried about more than anything. Rodgers, back on Wednesday, when asked about his wrist, said, I've had a few more days for the callus to form and more healing, especially Monday and Tuesday doing rehab. Tomorrow, as in talking about Thanksgiving, I'll be able to do a little bit more and see where I come out on Friday. So Rodgers saying that feels comfortabler, I think, is an accurate way of saying things with his wrist. Back to Tomlin's answer there. He just got more reps. That then makes me wonder even more. Was Rodgers held out because he was legitimately too hurt to play against the Bears? Or was he held out because Mason Rudolph got more snaps in practice? Because if that's the case, if it was Tomlin's decision to hold out Rodgers and put in Rudolph simply because he got, 3 days worth of first-team reps with the first team, meanwhile, Rodgers has been doing that all year, and I doubt him sitting out of practice a couple of days was going to harm that, then this loss against the Bears last weekend, it puts it just that much more on Mike Tomlin. You cannot hold out your future Hall of Fame, 4-time MVP quarterback who literally owns that franchise, the Chicago Bears. Probably he owns that franchise more than any other quarterback in NFL history owns a franchise. And you're going to tell me I'm taking it from that answer, developing this thought that you held him out because Rudolph got more snaps in practice? I just don't get it right there. That is a grade A failure by Mike Tomlin, and I don't get that. Maybe Rodgers was still legitimately too hurt to play, and I do understand when Tomlin came from the whole, it was a prudent decision for us to hold him out and make sure he stays healthy for, the Bills and Ravens coming up. But, talk about hindsight 2020. Now you look back on it, Rodgers, if he was healthy enough to go, then you should have put him in there because that was rough sledding there for the offense. And I'm sure he would have been able to at least get that game to overtime against Chicago instead of just another regulation loss if you're Mason Rudolph leading the way. Don't mean that to be a shot at Rudolph either. Also, besides Rodgers, on to some of the other injury updates today for the Steelers. Good news, in addition to Rodgers, DK Metcalf, Alex Highsmith, Joey Porter Jr., Ben Skoranek, those 4 gentlemen as well, not listed with any sort of game designation. You see the injury report right there. Joey Porter Jr., I believe, for the first 2 practices on Wednesday and Thursday this week, he was limited. He was probably the one I was worried about the most. He was a full go. I think DK Metcalf and Alex Highsmith, they were limited at least on Wednesday. Ben Skoranek, I think, was maybe out on Wednesday, and I think he was out yesterday too, but now he was a full go in practice today. He will be good to go. So all of those guys in the lineup, of course, Jones and Harmon, the only 2 guys we will be without tomorrow. Highsmith, he'll be back in there after a couple weeks off with the pec injury. Metcalf, good to see that ankle issue that he aggravated twice against the Bears is good to go. And seems like aside from, of course, Jones and Harmon, full cast of characters for the Steelers against the Bills. To replace Broderick Jones, by the way, I believe at least to start the week on Tuesday and Wednesday, there was maybe a little bit of a competition between Andres Pete and Calvin Anderson to see who was going to replace Jones. Tomlin confirmed today Andres Pete will be getting the start at left tackle. Started in place of Isaac Seumalo at left guard a couple of weeks ago against the Chargers. Does have that guard in tackle versatility. So now Pete will be back at left tackle. Big task for him protecting Aaron Rodgers' blind side. On to the Buffalo Bills, though. The Bills, they complete opposite just about injury news. Good news, I should say, compared to the Steelers. Back on Wednesday, Bills head coach Sean McDermott confirmed the following guys did not practice. Their starting left tackle, Dion Dawkins. Their starting right tackle, Spencer Brown. Linebacker, I believe their top linebacker, maybe top 2, Terrell Bernard. Their starting tight end, Dalton Kincaid. And one of their decent wide receivers, Curtis Samuel. All of those gentlemen did not practice on Wednesday. For the most part, they did not practice on Thursday as well. And today, it was confirmed. Dawkins, Brown, Bernard, Samuel, all out for the Bills on Sunday. So now Josh Allen for Buffalo, he's going to have both of his starting tackles down in this game. That creates a mega opportunity for the Steelers, for TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig. Those guys, they absolutely have to eat against this Bills offensive line. You're going to go against backups. I know Josh Allen is Josh Allen. He's Superman out there on the field, can escape any pocket, can, do all sorts of crazy stuff to avoid pressure, but you got to get in his face early because you do not want him to settle in back there, and that will be just trouble all the way around for this defense. Honestly, the more we say it now, tell me how many times this season have we seen the Steelers go up against backups on the offensive line for opposing teams and not be able to get enough pressure. So honestly, you're probably in for more of the same right there. But no Dion Dawkins, believe Pro Bowler, maybe even an All-Pro for the Bills. Spencer Brown, he's a pretty serviceable right tackle. He's out. Curtis Samuel, one of their wide receivers, is out. They did today, the Bills, sign Gabe Davis from their practice squad to their 53-man roster. So remember back in the offseason when Gabe Davis was, a potential landing spot for the Steelers? Well, now he's back with Buffalo, and he's going to play on Sunday. And then Terrell Bernard, one of their starting linebackers. Bet you we still don't throw to the middle of the field, even though there's a backup there, because, we learned all too well from the Bears game there. But as the final injury report and game designations for the Bills and the Steelers, most of the way, good news for the Steelers. Rodgers is back. Metcalf, good to go. Joey Porter Jr., he's not seriously hurt either. All of those other guys as well, they are in, only down Jones and Harmon, which you've known they've been out the entire week now. Hopefully you have a good plan not only to replace them, but to help the replacement and succeed in their tasks. So all good news for the Steelers. For the most part, the Bills, not so much down their starting tackles. We will see if the Steelers can take advantage of that coming up on Sunday evening. Back to the comment section real quick before we move along here. That wrapping up the Steelers and Bills injury report now. Back to the comments here. Lance33, shout out from Mon Valley. What is going on here, Lance? Glad to have you back here again on a Friday. Gonna switch gears here in a moment into some Pittsburgh Penguins hockey. Another comment here in the meantime, real quick. THP and saying the Bears have ran 81 offensive plays versus the Eagles tonight. Yeah, talking about that Black Friday game going on. Right now, I actually don't have that game on. I got some college football on here to my right just to keep tabs on some competition with my Pitt Panthers. I got Georgia and Georgia Tech on to my right now. Somehow, still a close game. Georgia up 13-6 right now with the ball. Meanwhile, my Pitt Panthers just BTA, belt to ass on Georgia Tech last weekend. So that was fun to watch. Hopefully Pitt can do similar things tomorrow afternoon against Miami and maybe with a little bit of help make the ACC championship game again. Hopefully. Go Panthers. H2P. Gonna switch gears, like I said, real quick. Get through the final main segment here for the show today, and then we'll get into some extra Pittsburgh sports news heading into the weekend. Want to switch tracks over here to some hockey real quick. The Pittsburgh Penguins, I got to talk about them a little bit here. They still, though, I guess trying to get reacclimated into some sort of rhythm with their schedule here. We remember 2 weekends ago, they were over in Sweden. They took on the Nashville Predators. Then were off that entire week, played Friday, Saturday, just got the doors blown off of them in those games. And then they had another little 3-day break, 4-day break there as well. And they didn't play until Wednesday. So that is what we got to talk about. We were not here on Wednesday. Penguins, Sabres doing battle Wednesday night. The Pens before that game, they made a series of moves lineup-wise and roster-wise. Forward Ville Koivunen and goaltender Tristan Jarry, both of those gentlemen activated off of injured reserve. The Penguins, in a corresponding move, sent Sergei Murashov back down to Wilkes-Barre in the AHL. Also, no Ben Kindle was in the lineup for the Penguins on Wednesday night for developmental purposes. And also Brian Rust, who was sick 2 days leading up to that game. He was able to get into the lineup on Wednesday night as well, as did rookie Tristan Brose. He got called up, I believe, Monday or Tuesday, made his NHL debut on Wednesday night, became the 9th rookie, I believe, to dress for the Penguins this season, which is by far, I think, most in the NHL. So the Penguins, the youth movement, it is in full effect. On to the game itself from Wednesday night. Penguins, they got out to a lead late in the first period. Matt Dumba getting back into the lineup for the Penguins. I believe he's been in there with some more regularity of late. Of course, with Harrison Brunick, they still, holding him out for developmental reasons. It's been really Connor Clifton and Matt Dumba rotating in and out of the lineup. I think Dumba might be earning himself a good chunk of more playing time. He got the Pens on the board with his first goal as a Penguin with a little under 3 minutes left to go in the first period. The Penguins, in the first period, I believe they only had 3 shots. And I think Buffalo, they had maybe 3. I think last I saw in that period, it was 2. So not a highly offensive first period. Second period did open up a little bit more. The Penguins had 7 shots in their first 10 minutes, and we were seeing good chances from the likes of Evgeny Malkin and Brian Rust. I think even Tristan Brose had a good attempt in there as well. Then I think midway through the period, momentum shifted. Buffalo, they had a strong push late in the period. 5 shots on 11 attempts in the last 5 minutes of play. So they were starting to hammer the puck on net as well. Eventually, they did break through a couple minutes into the third period. Ex-Penguin, Jason Zucker. If you guys ever want any sort of betting advice, even though I'm not a bettor here on the channel, I want you to real quick, when you bet on Penguins games, if there is ever a former Pittsburgh Penguin in the lineup, it might be a little bit of a safe bet to maybe slide a buck or two onto a ex-Penguins player to make some sort of play, get a point, maybe even get a goal, something like that, because that happens to the Penguins a ton, and I think it happens to them more than it does any other team. I think that's pretty crazy. But anyway, Jason Zucker for the Sabres, I think he signed a contract extension up there recently. He got Buffalo on the board, tied up the ball game. Then 31 seconds later, Brian Rust had a couple of chances in the second period, was able to get the Penguins on the board again 31 seconds after the fact. Game wasn't tied for long. Huge goal from Rust. Then even later, I think not too long after that, Erik Karlsson, been talking about him a ton this season, how I think he has greatly improved under this Dan Muse system. He, with a laser of a pass across the offensive zone, hits Kevin Hayes on the back door for a tap-in. Just outstanding pass from EK. That made it 3-1. Buffalo was able to come back within a goal again. Jason Zucker behind the net fed it out in front to Jack Quinn. He beat Jari on a one-timer. Tough save for Jari to make there. Then that was the last thing that Jari let behind him. He, in the final minutes of that game, Buffalo pulls their goalie, stood tall, made, I think, 3 excellent stops in tight against the Sabres. One of those saves ended up springing Connor Dewar the other way. He buries the empty netter. Final score that you see there, 4-2. Tristan Jarry, hell of a game from him. First game back from injury. Didn't really look like he had to shake off that much rust, which is a good thing for him. So glad he was able to have a solid night in between the pipes. 29 for 31 in the save to shot department, a .935 save percentage. So great stuff there from Jarry. More on Jarry, lots more actually, coming up here in the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment. So stick around for that. Tons of news about Jarry and maybe him potentially exiting Pittsburgh we will get to here in a moment. But just last thing here on the Pens, focusing in on tonight. Like I said, back in action tonight. Puck drop coming up here at 7 o'clock. They are in Columbus tonight to take on the Blue Jackets. Ben Kindle expected to be back in the lineup for the Pens, according to head coach Dan Muse. Believe Kindle working on the first power play unit again as well. I like him there, so that's good to see. Did not get any line rushes, so who the hell knows what the line combos are going to be tonight. Tristan Jarry will be in net for the Pens opposite Jet Greaves for the Blue Jackets. So interdivision matchup for the Pens. Hopefully they are able to get a nice win here tonight. They also, by the way, will be in action tomorrow night as well. So they got Columbus tonight, and then they will have the Maple Leafs again, a rematch with Toronto tomorrow night at 7 as well. I'm sure the Penguins would like to maybe get a little bit of revenge in that game. I believe it was a couple weeks ago they blew a absolutely horrendous game against the Leafs, had a 3-goal lead in the third period, and then they just got blown out of the building in the final frame. So 2 big games here for the Penguins. They've been skidding for a majority of this month of November. Let's hope that they can, now in the dog days, the end times here for November, let's see if maybe they can get on a little bit of a hot streak and carry that into December. 6 of you in here right now. Welcome to the live stream. Any thoughts, questions, opinions that you may have, feel free to get those in the comments section as we move along here this evening. Going to get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment here in a moment. Just real quick, let's go through the old Twitter timeline, see if we have any new bits of news, information on any of these Pittsburgh sports teams since we have gone live. Have had a tiny bit of that here in the past couple of days. It seems like every time I go to the timeline, there's something new, newsworthy to remember. So maybe there's something here. Not seeing too much so far. I am seeing highlights of that Bears Eagles game you were talking about there, THP. tons of football today here on a Black Friday. Of course, you got tons of college football. Big game coming up here later tonight. Texas A&M and Texas rivalry week in college football. We'll keep an eye on that. The Bears and Eagles 24-15 final. The Bears over Philadelphia. So maybe the Steelers won't be the worst team in Pennsylvania this weekend. That's at least a good thing, unless of course they get blown out by Buffalo. At least both Pennsylvania teams lost to the Bears. I guess that's the proper silver lining to take away from that. To the comment section here real quick before we get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news today. THP, mom's a Texas X. Don't expect us to win, but we'll see. Yeah, going to be a good game. I mean, I think Arch Manning is, he's not going to come out of the draft this year. He's had a better year as the season has gone along, but still nothing up to the caliber of living up to the Manning name so far. So interested to see how Texas does. Texas A&M, going to be honest, haven't seen a ton of them this year, but I knew they do have a couple of statement wins out there, including that incredible comeback they had. I believe we were live for it 2 weekends ago when I was live for Pitt Notre Dame. Texas A&M was losing to South Carolina, but like 28-0 or something. They ended up coming back and winning that ball game. So, yeah, that's crazy. Hopefully, get my eyes on some Texas A&M prospects. Do a little bit of slight scouting for the draft live streams that, of course, we do during the summer. THP 0%. He comes out. Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me here while I get a drink of water, and then we will continue on. Game on commercial over here between Georgia and Georgia Tech. Hopefully Georgia's able to, stick this one out. They're going to make college football playoff no matter what, but feels like Pitt, they really buried Georgia Tech. I just want them completely out of it altogether so that the only thing we need to worry about coming up here tomorrow is beating Miami, and hopefully one of SMU or Virginia loses. To the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it. Back into football here for a second. Just a few extra Steelers-related stories for today. Of course, mentioned, hope all of you had a happy Thanksgiving. I know I did, not just because of the family gatherings, but also because the Baltimore Ravens, they show that they are beatable, and the Cincinnati Bengals, they did us a favor last night on a Thanksgiving edition of Sunday Night Football. The Bengals and Joe Burrow, back from injury, taking it to the Ravens 32-14. With that loss by the Ravens, they now back to 6-6 on the season. And the Steelers doing nothing yesterday, but maybe going to practice and then having a light Thanksgiving meal because they are athletes. They did pretty much nothing, and all of a sudden back in first place in the AFC North. And it's not just the Ravens losing that made that look, or made getting back into first place feel even better. It's not just that. It's that the Ravens, they show that they aren't that scary to us. Of course, anytime Steelers-Ravens match up, you feel like either team's going to have a chance to win the ball game. But the Ravens in this climb from the gutter back to the top of the AFC North, I think they're still showing a ton of flaws that we saw from them early on in the season. For example, Lamar Jackson, I know still a upper echelon quarterback, still top 5 QB in the league, but there's just something up with him this year where he doesn't look like he's as big of a mobile threat as he was before. And now as a pocket passer, he's starting to come back to the Lamar B. That's LAMR, capital R, capital B. He's starting to look like that as a passer again. 3 games now for Lamar Jackson. 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles, 8 sacks he's taken. Remember when you'd be lucky to get him down on the ground because he was so elusive. Now, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to get too hyped up because I could say all this right now, and the Ravens, they can come and stomp out the Steelers. But I think it's for sure you can say Ravens, chalk them up as another year where they're not going to win the Super Bowl because they just have a lot of flaws right now. Also, they had so many errors. They beat themselves as much as they did the Bengals, as much as the Bengals did last night. So, yeah, tons of issues for the Ravens. Else going to say is thank God the Steelers played the Bengals twice without Joe Burrow because, man, that offense, it is dynamic with him in there. But yeah, Ravens, I don't. It's going to be close games by all means with the Steelers. Ravens. It's always going to be tightly contested, except for last year's playoff game. But do they look like world beaters that are going to run away with the division anytime soon? I don't think so. So maybe the Steelers at this pace they're going at right now, win one, lose one, maybe get a win or two in a row here. That might be all you need to win the division because the AFC North, the AFC in general, but especially the North, it is drunk off its rocker this year for some reason. Also, some other things here with the Steelers. Found this interesting. This came out, I believe, Tuesday night. So this is Josina Anderson does some NFL insider work for, I believe, for the Exhibit News Network and a whole bunch of other publications. Does some stuff for CBS and ESPN as well, or at least used to. She recently came out with a story about the NFL coaching carousel, and she said that league sources are eyeing up 5 more NFL teams with projected openings at head coach. And then she says, while waiting to collect data, there's collecting data on a 6 team as well. That's not what I'm interested in, though. She said, in addition to that, meanwhile, there is a long-time NFL head coach out there who is considering wanting a change of scenery and has told others of these thoughts. If he acts on those lingering feelies, his departure will clearly add to the list of vacancies. So, Josina Anderson, pretty decent NFL insider, saying that a longtime NFL head coach is thinking of a change of scenery. Now, is that going to be Mike Tomlin? I think for a while, all of us have thought, no, that's not Tomlin. I mean, he's Mr., even though he says otherwise, he's Mr. I like comfortability and continuity and things never changing. So I think, Tomlin knows as long as he's with the Steelers, he's more likely than not never going to be fired. But then you think more beyond that, what other long-time head coaches out there are wanting a change of scenery? I doubt Andy Reid there in Kansas City is going to want to walk away from Patrick Mahomes. I know similar situation to the Steelers, John Harbaugh down there in Baltimore, but does he want to leave Lamar Jackson? I don't think so. Trying to think of some other long time NFL head coaches. I wonder if long time, if that means they've been with a team for a long time, or if it's just they have a ton of NFL head coaching experience. I don't think that was all that clarified. I mean, just thinking else here, Nick Sirianni, they just come off of winning a Super Bowl. I know he's like on the hot seat every other year, but I doubt he's going to get fired anytime soon. Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan out west, feels like those guys are pretty solidified. So, I mean, as much as one side of my brain is telling me, remember, these are the Steelers. Art Rooney's in charge. He loves Tomlin. Tomlin, more so or less, is the head honcho of the entire organization. He's not going to be going anywhere. But then on the other side, you got to think, all those other longtime head coaches that you think of, are their situations, really something that a sane person would walk away from? I don't think so. So that is something to really keep in the back of your mind here. Put it on the back burner. Maybe that opens up the possibility in our minds and maybe in the minds of others that maybe a divorce for the Steelers would come sooner rather than later. Definitely time for a change, but I doubt it's going to happen. Still, last 2 things on the Steelers here for today. Should have mentioned this with the Ravens and how they lost yesterday on Thursday night. Interesting here from Mark Kabuli. I didn't realize this until now. An interesting quirk in the Steelers schedule. 3 of 4 opponents right now are coming off of at least 10 days rest before facing them. 3 of their next 4 opponents. So they're going to have, I think, the Bills right now. The Bills, they just played not this Thursday, last Thursday, lost to the Davis Mill-led Texans. They're coming off at least 10 days of rest. The Ravens, now that they played on Thanksgiving, they're going to be off all week before they see us. And then what else is on the Steelers schedule besides that here? You got then after that the Dolphins. No, hang on here. Here it is. You got the Dolphins on a Monday night. Not sure when the Dolphins play, and then the Lions. So one of those two teams, they play on a Thursday or something like that as well. So the Steelers rest advantage not in their favor right now. I wonder how that slipped by the NFL schedule maker. And also, last thing here on the Steelers, didn't really hear much from any of the Steelers coordinators this week. They usually talk on Thursdays, but Thanksgiving, didn't hear from them. Understandable. Did hear from Terrell Austin, though. He, just like Mike Tomlin, was asked about the Steelers going back to a cover 3 look against the Chicago Bears when they were running a 4 vertical set. His answer from Terrell Austin, Steelers defensive coordinator, I think it's like everything, every defense you call, every coverage you call has some weak points in some places that it can be exploited. The Bears definitely did that. I thought they did a good job of catching us and getting some things on us. We'll go back and we look at the tape, and then we decide what kind of adjustments we need to make moving forward. So at least the Steelers are aware, don't go cover 3 when you run 4 verts. Are they going to make any sort of adjustments? I doubt it, because when have they proven to us that they are going to make any sort of adjustment this year? Yeah, exactly, which it feels like never at this point. Going to switch gears here to some extra Pittsburgh Penguins news and Tristan Jarry talk here in a second. Real quick, though, let's go back to the comment section for one moment. THP and some others getting into the comment section now. I was asleep because of work at 4 a.m., but Joe Cole mopped him. Yeah, Joe Burrow, thank God the Steelers did not play him. I mean, could the Steelers maybe have one game where Joe Burrow lays an egg against them? Yeah, but man, just seeing him back, I mean, I seriously doubt the Bengals are going to go on some sort of Cinderella run and somehow finish, 9-8 on the season, but glad to see that he's back for at least a matchup with the Ravens, maybe a couple of others as well. Ravens aren't as good this year, agree there. THP defense isn't good. They can be gotten to. Maybe, hopefully, Aaron Rodgers is able to bail the Steelers out against a mediocre Ravens defense, because the way the offense looked last weekend against the Bears, you might as well think the Ravens are, you might as well say, put that Steelers offense out there and the Ravens defense will look like they got Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, and Ray Lewis back out there, for goodness sake. Only a handful talking about the coaching carousel. Kyle Shanahan, yeah, maybe. Could be talking about Mike McCarthy. He's out of the league right now. I mean, maybe. What has McCarthy been up to, honestly? I mean, he's been doing, just some analyst work on TV, stuff like that. Haven't really heard from him at all. He's sort of gone the John Gruden route where you're just a TV personality, but if a coaching opportunity comes a knocking, then maybe maybe you go see it as well. Of course, coming in here like a hurricane, Flacco. Why is it always when you come in here, Flacco, I'm talking about the Ravens somehow, some way? F them Ravens, though. Yep, I'm sure you took great pleasure and you were eating fine last night watching the Bengals and the Ravens do battle. Black Magic in here. Welcome there, Magic. Glad to have you here tonight. Glad to have all of you, 6 of you, still in here right now, hanging around on this Friday evening. Concepts, F them Dirty Birds at Flacco. Lots of Ravens haters here in the comment section. Gotta enjoy it. Anyways, wrapping up some extra Pittsburgh sports news for the past couple of days here. Gonna get back into some Pittsburgh Penguins news for a quick second. Told you guys we were going to be coming back to Tristan Jarry for the Penguins, and with a perfectly good reason why as well. All of a sudden, I believe this started back on Wednesday, Tristan Jarry I guess is now the hottest commodity on the trade market. Started here with Kevin Weeks. We've heard little bits and pieces of Jari being available for a trade at the right price before. It'd usually be like maybe a report a week, a report every week and a half about Jari apparently being available. But the reason why I'm bringing it up tonight in this way is because now all of a sudden you have had like 4 to 5 different NHL insiders talking about Tristan Jari and being traded to particularly one place. And you see it right here from Kevin Weeks, does some insider work for NHL Network, NHL.com, ESPN, all that. He is one of the top NHL insiders out there. He is told that Jari is among goalies drawing significant interest as a potential option for the Edmonton Oilers. Jari, Oilers, makes a ton of sense, and I'll tell you why. Some of this new to me, being reported by these insiders. Some of it also we've known in the past. You got Weeks there dropping that on Wednesday, and then after that, Elliot Friedman, Jeff Merrick, Chris Johnston, these other NHL insiders, they within the past 24 hours, they couldn't, keep the name Jari out of any of their tweets. Jeff Merrick last night saying that Jari would be a definitive improvement in net for the Oilers over Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard. He said, this would be like, this would almost be a goaltender for goaltender trade type thing from Jeff Merrick. I don't see it, but he mentioned Calvin Pickard, that he could be gone from the Oilers. Maybe Pickard goes elsewhere and Jari fills that role. Who knows? Elliot Friedman then last night into this morning, he got in on the action saying that by pure ability, Jari does make a lot of sense for the Oilers, but the Oilers, they're scared of one thing. It's what kept them away from John Gibson. Anaheim Duck goaltender was rumored to the Oilers for almost a year, honestly, and he ended up going to Detroit. The reason why the Oilers didn't trade for him, and the reason why they haven't traded for Jari yet, injuries. They are a scary thing for the Oilers. If they're going to bring in a goaltender, they want to make sure that he is fully healthy and is able to be, durable as the later half of the season moves along. So Friedman bringing out, that's why the Oilers haven't traded for Jari yet or gotten too serious, because he is hurt. Maybe now that Jari is back from injury, maybe he can string together a couple of healthy weeks playing some good hockey, and then you see the Oilers get desperate. I don't know. Friedman added that Jari also makes logical sense, not just for the Oilers, because he, maybe fits the type of goaltender they're looking for, but he also mentioned it makes sense for the Penguins because the Pens, according to him, quote, got 4 goaltenders. Now, I see where Friedman's coming from there. I do. Pittsburgh does technically have 4 goaltenders right now. You got Jari, Artur Shilovs, and then 2 kids, Sergei Murashov and Yoel Blomqvist, both down in the AHL right now. But the thing where Friedman, I kind of lose him there. Yes, they technically do have 4 goaltenders, but do you really want to subtract from that goaltending depth right now? I honestly am a little skeptical about that, because Jari, is he raising his trade value and playing good hockey so far this year? Absolutely. But also, are the Penguins in the hunt in large part because of that? Are they playing 10 times better than what we've expected so far this season? Yes. And you do have Shilovs, fairly decent, but Murashov, Blomqvist, still just kids. Murashov, I'm still very, very high on his potential moving forward in his NHL career, but when he was up here with the Penguins, he did well, but I don't know if it was to the level you expect of him quite yet. So we'll see. 4 goalies. Maybe if Jari raises his value a little bit more, then I'll be able to feel confident pulling the trigger on a trade like that. But right now, I'm not sure. Just wrapping up the Jari trade chatter here. The final insider that we heard from on this matter, Chris Johnston, I believe does some work, NHL insider for The Athletic. He brought up that Jari, not the first time he has been linked to Edmonton, of course, local guy from the Edmonton area, played for the Edmonton Oil Kings when he was in juniors. Also, Johnston brought up some other goaltending options for the Oilers that maybe Edmonton looks at if a Jari trade cannot be done. Brought up Laurent Brossoit, who's coming back from injury for Edmonton. Also said maybe the Buffalo Sabres could be parting ways with a goaltender. They, similar spot with the Penguins, got a veteran goaltender or two, but also got some youngins. And then even brought up Jordan Binnington, goaltender for the St. Louis Blues. He's been there forever. Could he be finally moved? I don't know. Reason also why I saved Chris Johnston for last here. He apparently the last insider right now, still kicking up dust about this fictional, never going to happen Sidney Crosby trade BS, saying that Montreal, the Canadiens, of course, they should go all in on Crosby. They also have the assets needed to do it. Trust me, whatever sort of compensation or trade package you have in mind to get Sid to the Canadiens, it's not enough. It'll never be enough. So I don't know why I'm bringing it up. It's not going to happen. But still, at least some insider out there trying to, on behalf of the Canadian media, trying to wish upon a star a Crosby trade into reality. Last couple things here on the Penguins for tonight. Congratulations to former Pittsburgh Penguin defenseman Mike Matheson. He today signing a contract with those aforementioned Montreal Canadiens. I believe it was a 6-year deal, something like that. So congratulations to him. Kyle Dubas, Penguins general manager, he not with the team, not with the Penguins in Columbus tonight. Instead, according to Dan Kingerski, covers the Pens for Pittsburgh Hockey Now, said that Dubas is in Detroit, I believe, tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Detroit Red Wings. So not all that far from Columbus, but still Dubas not with the team like he normally is. Kingerski said he has no idea if it's, maybe scouting something for the Pens, maybe a trade down the line, or Dubas also part of the group building Team Canada for the Olympics. Maybe he's looking at a couple of guys trying to get a look at them for the Olympics as well. So keep an eye on that. And the last thing for the Penguins today, happy 41st birthday to the Penguins' last franchise goaltender, Marc-Andre Fleury. He turning 41 today. Of course, still feel pretty happy that he came back for that preseason farewell. Now he's enjoying life from, keeping tracks of his social media. Seems like having some humor, trying to adapt to post-playing life. Who knows? We just talked about Tristan Jarry there for a while. Maybe you trade Jarry for a king ransom with his value over inflated, and then you bring back in Marc-Andre Fleury for a playoff run if crap hits the fan. Of course, that would be a Penguins fan's dream, but still very unlikely. And wrapping up the extra Pittsburgh sports news here for today. Have not mentioned them at all yet today. We'll do it now. The Pittsburgh Pirates got a few loose items to hit on them today. Back mostly talk about the Pirates right now. It's what they're planning, I guess, to do here in free agency, being more aggressive than anything we've seen from them before. As a matter of fact, there was an ESPN survey done by Jesse Rogers, does some work covering the MLB. He did a survey with MLB executives, and the Pittsburgh Pirates, they were voted as the small market team that will make the most noise this winter. I believe there was somewhere around 15 votes or something cast out for this. The Pirates, they got a majority of the votes. The Cincinnati Reds, Tampa Bay Rays, Miami Marlins, those types of teams, they were behind the Bucks, but seems to be league-wide that this Pirates front office, the PR department, they are putting out there loud and proud, hey, we want to make some noise. We want to spend more money this offseason. Of course, I will, before I go any further, and list off the names that have been mentioned in a couple of days. Say, hey, you can say all you want, talk up a big game until you prove to us that you're going to actually legitimately sign one of these players. Then I'll believe it when I see it. It's the approach I'm taking to this. Some of the new names that have been brought up to the Pirates. We've been talking anytime we've heard a name, we've been bringing it up here on the channel and talking a little bit about them. We've talked about Kyle Schwarber, Jorge Polanco, a couple of guys coming over from Japan, Ryan O'Hearn, a couple of things like that. Well, 3 new names for the most part. They popped up over the past couple of days from John Heyman for the New York Post. He says that the Pirates are linked to a few players, of course, Kyle Schwarber, who we know about, 2 other Philadelphia Phillies, catcher JT Realmuto, I believe 34-year-old catcher, pretty solid veteran, been playing baseball for a while now. You want to maybe settle down your catching position a little bit, you bring him in. Also, Nick Castellanos, right fielder / DH for the Phillies, Mr. Doomsday home run hitter himself. He's been linked to the Pirates as well. Honestly, he'd be perfect for the Pirates. Starting to get up there in age. Maybe the bat will start to fall off a little bit, but hey, if this guy, all he does is hit home runs at terrible times when some massive tragedy strikes, the Pirates, they are the biggest tragedy in professional baseball, so he may put up Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani type numbers if he comes to Pittsburgh. The last name that was brought up, according to John Heyman, infielder Jeff McNeil. Now, this is a trade candidate here. We did hear a couple of trade candidates before linked to the Pirates, mainly some St. Louis Cardinals players. But Jeff McNeil, I believe primary second baseman for the New York Mets, does have a little bit of versatility at some other spots in the infield and outfield as well. He brought up as a trade candidate for the Buccos. And Heyman saying the Pirates seriously are moving into free agent waters for the first time in a decade. And McNeil, maybe an outside landing spot for the Pirates, but who knows? Maybe the Pirates package together something nice, maybe a prospect and a player for the Mets. Who knows? So again, the Pirates being linked to these players. There was also former MLB GM Steve Phillips. He on MLB Network a couple of days ago saying the Pirates also should potentially go after some third base help, mainly Nolan Arenado, third baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals. If you're talking about the Nolan Arenado from 2 or 3 years ago, yes, but unfortunately, last year, Arenado turned 34. He'll be 35 next year. Gold Glove, of course, third baseman, but his bat is starting to fall off in a big way. No thank you, but, if you go out and you sign another big bat, you go and you get a Schwarber or a Castellanos, something like that, then maybe if instead of having Arenado be the big fish, if he's just, a side piece to what you mainly do in the offseason, I guess I'd be all right with it then. But that's the latest names and rumors being floated the Pittsburgh Pirates way. A couple extra things here on the Pirates, wrapping up the extra Pittsburgh sports news today. Mentioned it on Tuesday, the Pirates moving on from another coach. I believe it was infield coach Mendy Lopez. He being let go of. Kevin Gorman, who broke that news, also mentioned later on that night after we were done live streaming on Tuesday, Chris Truby, who was the AAA Indianapolis manager in the Pirates farm system, got promoted to the big league club behind Don Kelly when Kelly took over for Derek Shelton. Gorman bringing up Truby as a strong candidate to fill that infield coach position. Also mentioning that he did work with Connor Griffin last spring, did Truby. And Griffin, of course, not only won the minor league baseball Gold Glove at shortstop, but also, according to a report from a couple of weeks ago from Jeff Passan, Griffin could be getting a legitimate shot to make the big league club at shortstop out of spring training. So Truby, I'm sure, will be a shoe-in for that infield position if that's the case. The Pirates, they did make a signing yesterday on Thanksgiving. They brought back right-handed pitcher Beau Burrows on a minor league deal. I think was with the Bucks to begin his big league career. Might have went another place or two, but he's back now on a minor league deal. Had a 2.94 ERA, 49 strikeouts, and 0.90 WHIP in the minors last year. So he's back on the team. Maybe might be one of those guys you see get elevated for a week or two at a time throughout the season. Interesting story on Tommy Pham came out recently. We mentioned Tommy Pham midway through the season, of course, dealing with his keratoconus, his eyesight issue, got that fixed. All of a sudden started mashing like a monster. Well, maybe there's something else that was going on with Tommy Pham too that contributed to his slow start to the season. According to a report, he was dealing with plantar fasciitis. So that, of course, limited his mobility and running in the field and on the base path. Tommy Pham saying now that he's going to get that issue taken care of. He'll be more spry of foot, even though he is going to, turn 36, 37. Wouldn't mind if they, brought back Tommy Pham. Maybe not as your starting left fielder. Maybe have him in as a depth piece. But liked how Tommy Pham finished up his season. If the Pirates bring him back, you won't hear any complaints from me. And the last thing on the Bucks for the day, happy birthday back on Wednesday to former Pirate pitcher and now broadcaster Bob Walk. So congratulations there, Mr. Walk. Hopefully some better times ahead for Pittsburgh Pirates baseball team to where you'll be able to have some happier broadcasts, hopefully. We'll see, though. I doubt they are going to do anything. Prove me wrong there, Bob Nutting and Ben Cherington. Prove me wrong. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Going to do one last scroll here through Twitter, and then I will finish up with some of your comments here for this Friday. Just saw, I'm looking at it right now, for the Penguins. They posting this 4 minutes ago. Their lineup is out tonight for the Columbus Blue Jackets game. Bit of some line shuffling here for the Pens in this game tonight. Kevin Hayes is up on the top line with Sidney Crosby and Brian Rust. Tommy Novak getting repaired with Evgeny Malkin and Anthony Mantha. Pretty decently young line. Ben Kindle, Ville Koivunen, and Danton Heinen on the third line. Unikopin and Blake Lizotte, Connor Dewar on the fourth line. So just trying to pair together what's going on here. Dewar, who is on the top line with Crosby and Rust, he's back down to the fourth line. Tommy Novak, I think, was on the third line with Ben Kindle there for a while. He now moves up to the second line with Malkin. Hayes moves from the second line to the first line. So I believe that's just about all the shuffling gone on there. Defense pairings staying the same. Dumba back in there with Ryan Graves. Tristan Jarry in net here tonight. No Tristan Brose. Interesting. Made his NHL debut a couple of nights ago. Out of the lineup tonight. Wonder if that is for the developmental reasons that Dan Muse and them have brought up in the past, or if he could be getting sent back down. Penguins could be getting back some injured players, some more reinforcements offensively. Justin Brazeau, Nola Chari continue to progress. So we will see how that goes. Looking here, seeing if there's anything else before we log off here tonight. Also, back to that whole Tristan Jarry trade rumor stuff to the Edmonton Oilers. I believe I've even seen some Edmonton Oiler fans putting out there, oh, you can go get Parker Wotherspoon as well from the Pens. Newsflash here, Edmonton Oiler fans. Does Wotherspoon look on paper like he could be a trade deadline candidate? 1 year, $1 million, or I believe 2 years, two years at $1 million. Left shot defenseman. Yes, but also I think Wotherspoon, he's like top 10 right now in efficiency from NHL defensemen. And him playing with Erik Karlsson, he's not only playing good hockey, Wotherspoon, he's also paired up with Karlsson. You're seeing some of the best hockey from Erik Karlsson in years. So I don't think Parker Wotherspoon is going to be getting dealt here anytime soon. I'll tell you that much. See if there's any last pieces of information. I do not think so. So that is just about going to do it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go here to the comment section one last time. Magic doing his thing right there. All of you greeting each other. Happy Victory Friday from Concepts there to Flacco. I guess Victory Monday for the Bears beating the other Pennsylvania team on the other side of the state. And have a good one, guys. Got to hit the gym. See you Sunday. See you back here on Sunday. Concepts if you're still hanging around at all. And thank you to Flacco. Deuces as always. That's going to do it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining me. Once again, hope that all of you had a happy Thanksgiving. But now, back to the grindstone. Had a good night here tonight. Had a lot to talk about. We'll be back here again on Sunday, 4 o'clock live stream start time for Steelers versus Bills. That should be an exciting one. We'll have tons to talk about before kickoff in that one. So hope you guys all come back for that. And for the final time tonight, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the channel. Like this live stream, share it, leave a comment in the comment section after the fact. I can get back to you then. Go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and come back a little bit later on tonight for a new edition of SCSR 60. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your Friday night. Go sleep off some more of that turkey and stuffing and all of that was eaten yesterday. I probably will eventually later on tonight. And we will see you guys back here on Sunday. Steelers versus Bills. Come on back. Should be a fun one. Peace.